And Woori to the left. And straight away, the Brookers pushing forward. Probably not the ideal start as they've turned it over. So DeBoof has the ball in hand at the moment. She shorts it to Caneva. Caneva to Clark. DeBoof once again goes out wide to Dobson. Dobson shorts it once again to Clark. Clark laterally. And that's not a bad pass on that occasion there. That was to Evans. Dobson turns it over at Miles. Creates an intercept. Finds Burton. Burton shorts the pass on that occasion. That was to Williams. Burton. Christie. Back to Burton. Burton much longer pass on this occasion to Bell. Yeah, Mariah Bell puts it through. That's the first goal of the afternoon. Going the way of the Brookers, and DeBoof is back in the centre once again. So wasting no time, Corliss. Short pass, gets it back once again as well. So DeBoof could pass. That was to Miller. And it comes out for the moment. So Miles has the ball in hand, goes short to Alexis Bell. Further a caught on this occasion to Burton, who waits and then goes back to Bell. Now it's with Miles. Miles shorts a pass on this occasion. Did that one pretty well to Williams. So now Christie pops it over the top, and Bell just couldn't quite take it cleanly. But it will stay with Gembrook Cockatoo on this occasion. It'll be Beck Christie with ball in hand. Goes back to Williams, and it's through the hands. And they will get the ball back, will Woori Yallock. So this is Caneva. Short pass to Clark, who goes back to Caneva, then to DeBoof. Caneva once again for a third time in the passage. DeBoof, cleverly done though by Christie, cuts off the pass, and now Gembrook Cockatoo on the counter-attack. Miles got it from Burton, then short to Williams. Bell on the end of this one, won't have the shot at goal. It's knocked away and cleverly collected on that occasion by Evans, and now they're away. This is Clark with ball in hand. Goes short on that occasion to DeBoof. Further a court to Corliss. Has Dobson the short option, but goes laterally on that occasion to Clark. Now Dobson's got it. She'll get it back on this occasion too from Corliss. Dobson to DeBoof. DeBoof underground, finds Miller. Miller back to Dobson. Dobson again finds Miller, who can line up for Woori Yallock's first shot at goal, and she puts it through. And scores are level, early days, one apiece. As Burton will restart on the centre and decides to go backwards to Miles. Miles passes it across that occasion. That was to Volta. And now they'll go back the other way, but Miles cleverly cuts that one off, read it beautifully. Williams has got ball in hand, has Mariah Bell on the outside, goes for a Bell, lines him up and puts it through. So good accurate shooting there from Mariah Bell. And Gembrook Cockatoo back in front by one goal. So DeBoof in the centre. Shorts it, finds Corliss. She goes laterally to Clark. Clark fires it into Dobson. It was a good pass. Dobson, Corliss, DeBoof. Back to Dobson, who has Miller front and centre. Gets it to her as well. And Miller won't have the shot at goal. Just goes underground again to Corliss. And Danica Corliss can put that one through and level the scores once again. There's two apiece. Early days of match of the round. So Burton to Christie. Mariah Bell presented nicely and got the pass back to Burton. Burton right on her measure on this occasion and found Bell, who can line up the goals. And Mariah Bell doesn't put that through, but Christie read it well off the post. So another opportunity for the Brookers. Caneva knocked it away, and Clark got her hands to it first and did it well. Got it away to the booth very quickly. Goes further a court to Dobson. Dobson inside the attacking third to Corliss. Now Evans, DeBoof, laterally to Dobson. Corliss tucked away in the corner. Now DeBoof's got ball in hand, shorts it to Corliss. Corliss goes back to her. And now Danica Corliss wants to go underground to Miller and gets it to her as well. Miller doesn't make the first opportunity work, but she puts this one through, and Woori have the lead for the first time today. So 3-2 the score and an early break for the Tigers. So DeBoof to Dobson. Dobson laterally to Evans. Evans back to Dobson. Dobson to Miller, who puts it up for Corliss, who's got it. And Danica Corliss puts that one through, so 4-2 is the score. So Burton. Christie. Back to Burton. Just a slow build here for Gembrook Cockatoo. Christie has got it once again, finds Williams. Williams looked at Bell, but had to go back to Burton. Burton did not quite hit the pass to Miles. Now it's turned over, and Caneva will take the ball on this occasion. So Caneva finds Clark. Clark will go back to Caneva. Caneva unsure where to go. Eventually finds Clark. She finds DeBoof. DeBoof puts him inside the attacking third to Corliss. Dobson got to the end of that pass. Now Corliss once again, who can line him up from here, decides not. Now she's got it back again, Corliss. She will take the shot on this occasion. And can't quite make use of the first attempt, but she'll put this one through. And suddenly it's a 5-2 lead to Woori Yallock. So good start to the game. Dobson got it from DeBoof. DeBoof, long pass, and Miller couldn't quite take it. So a reprieve for Gembrook Cockatoo in defence. Miles got it from Alexis Bell. Laterally to Burton. Burton, short to Bell. Bell, back to Miles. Miles, cleverly done though there by Evans, who cut it off. The pass though from Corliss wasn't the best. Dobson still wins it for Woori Yallock, and now Miller can line them up, doesn't quite put that away, and Volta did really well. Got the ball away to Burton, read it nicely off the post. Volta again, Williams, back to Burton, waits and then goes back to Miles. Miles to Volta, Christie to Williams. Christie's got it once again, and Clark. Swift movement, just didn't quite do it legally, said the umpire. So it comes back to Christie, lines him up, puts it through and gets one back for Gembrook Cockatoo. Back to a 2-goal margin. So back in the centre. So Volta. Burton had it knocked away. Umpire calls him to go. So Corliss short to Dobson. Dobson laterally back to Corliss, and she's got it again. Dobson puts it up this time for DeBoof, who goes underground, finds Miller, who's happy to have the shot at goal and doesn't quite finish the job. So they'll get a reprieve once again. Gembrook Cockatoo. Bell, long pass to Volta is a good one. Volta waits, then goes back to Bell. Much longer this time to Christie. Christie short to Burton. Burton, Christie. Little underground one to Williams. Bell calls for it. Mariah Bell gets it. And now she can line them up. Didn't quite make it through. Christie kept it in, but Caneva got first hands to it, wins it back. She goes with a decent pass there to Clark. Clark to Dobson. Dobson over the top to Corliss. Corliss waits a moment, finds DeBoof. DeBoof. Anyone's ball now, and cleverly done there by Miles. Got the hand, and they can win it back. Burton. Long pass to Christie is a good one. Christie goes back to Burton. Burton. Christie again. Put too much on the pass. It's over the head of Williams. And Caneva on the last line of defence for Woori. Can reload the Tigers. Clark. Good one to DeBoof. DeBoof waits a moment, then fires it into Dobson. Dobson over the top into the attacking third to Corliss. Back to DeBoof. Corliss called for it back, but Clark in the end ends up with it. Miles, can she keep it in? Oh, they've stuffed that one up. Gembrook Cockatoo nearly won it back, but communication wasn't there on that occasion. So DeBoof, Dobson, Miller. Searches around. Dobson could have gone back, but decides to go to DeBoof, and that's cleverly done. Corliss found space, and she will get a second crack at this one. And she puts it through on that occasion, Danica Corliss. So it's back to a 3-goal margin for Woori Yallock. And DeBoof has the ball back in the centre once again. So Corliss got it straight from DeBoof. Dobson to Miller. Miller. DeBoof, right on a measure, goes back to Miller, who can line them up, and cleverly done off the post by Miller. Puts that one through. There's another goal. 4 goals the margin for Woori Yallock. 7-3 the score, and Burton once again has the ball in the centre. Goes out wide. Good one to Williams. Williams. Laterally to Burton. Burton, good one. To Bell. And that one drops in. There we go. So much another goal there for Gembrook Cockatoo. 7-4 the score. And DeBoof is back in the centre. Puts it up for Corliss. Corliss goes laterally. That's not a bad one as well. Little underground ball comes out wide. Through the hands of DeBoof. And it'll come back for Gembrook Cockatoo. So Alexis Bell has it. Goes out wide. Volta to Burton. Burton to Miles. Miles goes back to Burton. Looked at Volta in the pass. Wasn't the best one for her. And DeBoof gets in there. Snatches it back for Gembrook Cockatoo. Demi Barber's got the ball now. Does a good pass on that occasion to Miller. Barber. Underground pass there from Smith. And now Corliss on the end of this one. And Corliss puts it through and back to a 4-goal margin for Woori Yallock. So Burton passes it back to Volta. Volta to Christie. Williams, and cleverly done. Getting out the back was Mariah Bell. Had plenty of room, puts through the goal, and it's back to a 3-goal margin. And once again, Deboof in the centre. Finds Smith. Smith fires it into Corliss. Corliss back to Smith. Smith puts it up for Corliss, who can line up the goals. And Danica Corliss puts that one through. No problems at all. It's back to a 4-goal margin. 9-5 the score. And it's back at the centre now for the Brookers. Christie got it from Burton, puts it up. But Caneva did well, got best body position. Corliss waits a moment, shorts it to Smith. Smith back to Barber. Barber, Smith again. Deboof, underground to Miller, who passes it back, and Miller's got it now. She can line up the goals this to make it a 5-goal margin. Couldn't do so with that attempt, but now opportunity for Corliss, who puts that through and makes it 5 goals a difference. 10-5 and the biggest lead of the game so far. And Deboof has the centre pass, so another opportunity for the Tigers. Out they go. Smith through the hands. Miles intercepted it. She gets it back as well from Christie. Volta. Burton. Fires it into Bell. She'll get it back, will she? Burton. No. Knocked away by Deboof, and it goes out of play. So back with Burton. Finds Christie. Puts it up for Bell, who collected it nicely. And they need this one. Do the Brookers, and they'll get it back as well. So 10-6 the score. And once again, Holly Burton finds herself in the centre with the pass. Does it well. Williams, Christie, Bell nearly stuffed it up, but got it on the second attempt. Puts it through, and back-to-back goals for the Brookers. And back to 3 goals the margin. So once again, Deboof in the centre. Goes out wide. Corliss had plenty of room. Finds Barber. Barber back to Corliss. Deboof. Smith. Miller's out wide. Corliss once again to Miller, who's being double-teamed at the moment as Corliss, but Deboof now got plenty of room because of that and turned it over, and cleverly done there by Alexis Bell to Miles. Pass was effective, but not legally. So it'll come back for Gembrook Cockatoo. So Bell, where can she go? Finds Miles. Miles. Christie. Williams. Oh, Caneva did fantastically there. Got front position, knocked it away to Clark, and now they're on the counter-attack. Barber finds Smith, laterally to Clark. Clark did well, got it to Miller. Miller thought about Corliss. Pass goes over the top, and Miles once again, who's had a really good game for Gembrook Cockatoo. Created plenty of interceptions. And now once again they're on the counter-attack, the Brookers. Christie's got the ball now. Comes back to Volta. And that pass there from Christie, not the best. Turned over to Deboof. So Clark fires it into Smith. Smith to Corliss. Inboard, and a good one as well to Barber. Clark. Barber again. Now Deboof. Laterally to Smith. And now Corliss. Can put the margin back out to 4 goals. Yeah, a game of tennis that passage was there. Both teams passing it back to each other. So Burton to Williams. Presenting nicely was Bell. Goes all the way across to Williams. Christie's got ball in hand. She'll get it back as well, Beck Christie. And now she can line up the goals. Need this one to go through to Gembrook Cockatoo, and it bounces out. And whose hand was that off? It'll stay with the Tigers. So Caneva to Barber. Barber to Clark. Clark short to Smith. Smith to Deboof. Done this pretty well, have Woori Yallock. So Miller won't have the shot at goal. Goes back to Smith, and Smith once again finds Miller. And Miller can not quite put that through. A nice hit done by Alexis Bell. So now they're on the counter-attack, are the Brookers. Miles short to Volta. Bell. Volta again. Long pass to Williams. Bell. Whose hand was that off? So Williams. Bell. Can she track it down? Yes, she can. And she'll line them up as well, Mariah Bell, and can't quite put that through. Christie nearly doing a very good job, but in the end it stays with the Tigers. So Caneva, short to Clark, back to Caneva. Deboof, Caneva again, searches around and finds Barber. Barber pops it over the top nicely to Clark. Clark laterally to Barber, who's right on a measure here. Did well to not jump into the attacking third there, and now Corliss can push the margin back out to 5 goals, and she does just that. So 12-7 the score. And we're back in the middle once again. So Deboof, it's knocked away. Miles nearly creating another interception, but couldn't quite finish off the job. Searching around as Miller goes out wide to Deboof. Deboof inboard to Smith. And now it's with Corliss. And Danica Corliss can put that one through, and there's another goal for Woori Yallock right on the quarter-time siren as well. So it's a 6-goal margin here in match of the round between Woori Yallock and Gembrook Cockatoo. It's Laney Williams who's going to line up in the centre, and she goes back to Miles for the time being. Miles inboard to Volta. Volta to O'Neill, and now Miles. So Volta, Miles, Laney Williams does well to O'Neill. And probably O'Neill lining it for her. First shot at goal, can't quite put that one through. And now we're on the counter-attack. So DeBoof to Clark, to Caneva. Smith, who's moved into the centre. DeBoof now as wing attack. Barber, long pass, good one to Corliss. DeBoof, and Corliss decided not to have the shot at goal in the first attempt, but can line them up now, and she puts that one through. It's a 7-goal margin. 14-7 the score. So Smith in the centre. Goes out wide. Oh, DeBoof spilled it momentarily, but it won't matter. Barber got it to Smith. Smith. Oh, no, DeBoof. Just lost her footing there, or something interesting one, and Smith wasn't aware of it, and Gembrook have received a massive reprieve on that occasion. The ball flying over her head, and Alexis Bell all the way back in the centre, finds Miles. Miles passes affected, and DeBoof's won it back, but not legally, so it'll come back again to Bell, who again goes to Miles. So take 2 for the Brookers. Done it much better that time. So Laney Williams goes to Abby Williams, and back to Laney. Laney will go, or tried to go back to Abby. Pass was, in football terms, smothered. Williams to O'Neill. Smith nearly stealing it back there for the Tigers, but just knocking it out of play. So it'll come back to O'Neill. So Mariah Bell being double-teamed. And nicely done there by Williams. Got it to O'Neill, who can line them up and puts it through. So a good start for O'Neill. Gets her first goal for the game, and it's back to a 6-goal margin. Williams to Bell. Thought about going back to Williams, but went to Volta. Williams, that was Abby, I think. Now Laney, no, doesn't get it because Smith cut it off beautifully. Got it away to Corliss. Corliss over to DeBoof. DeBoof waits a moment, goes back to Smith. Smith, Barber calls for it and gets it as well. Smith once again. Could have gone to Miller, goes much longer to Corliss. Miller being corralled, got it to DeBoof. DeBoof searches around and finds Smith. Smith, can they break him open? No, not quite. And they've done pretty well there, the Brookers defence, under all sorts of pressure. Miles looks around, finds Williams. That's Laney. Miles again, this time to Volta. Volta, ball was knocked away. And it will stay with the Brookers. So, ball with Volta. Pops it over the top to Laney Williams. Laney does well. Got it to O'Neill. And Gabby Clark does really well there. Got the ball to Smith. Creating another interception. Demi Barber got it just in time. DeBoof to Miller. Can she find Corliss? Goes across to Smith. Smith. Miller knocked away. Contact given away. So comes back to Smith. Smith. Miller can line them up and puts it through. So once again, Chelsea Smith. DeBoof. Shorts it back to Clark. Clark. Barber. Smith. Looks around. DeBoof. Good one. Corliss. Smith with it once again. Miller did well. It finishes off the job, puts it through, and it's an 8-goal margin for the Tigers. So back at the centre for Williams. This is Laney. Goes out wide to O'Neill. Back to Laney Williams. Searches around. Goes laterally to Volta. Williams with it once again. Goes short to Abby Williams. Underground pass. Doesn't work out, and Caneva cuts it off nicely. Pops over the top to Smith. Smith fires it in. Volta. Did she keep it in play? No. So Barber will get it back. Barber shorts it nicely. And cuts it off once again, so DeBoof didn't quite get it. Miles. Abby Williams to Volta. Volta. Long pass is a good one to O'Neill. O'Neill goes out wide. And done that pretty well. And she puts that one through, Bro O'Neill, so a good one. And gets the margin back to 7 goals. Short pass is a good one. Corliss pops over the top. DeBoof, underground. Miller gets it back from DeBoof. Can line them up. Ed puts it through, and just like that's back to 8 goals. So Williams in the centre. This is Laney. Out wide to Abby Williams. Pass was affected. Laney gets it back, and Smith loses her footing. Hits the deck, and now it's anyone's ball. Caneva snatches it. And just couldn't quite win it back. So O'Neill does that pretty well to Bell. And Mariah Bell doesn't get the first attempt. Puts through the second. Gets it back to 7 goals. 17-10 the score. Smith to DeBoof. Laterally to Barber. Then Smith got it back again from Corliss. Little bounce pass there to DeBoof. And DeBoof cleverly and under Corliss, who has another opportunity in front of goal and puts it through, and it's back to 8 goals the margin. 18-10 the score. And the Tigers doing it pretty well at home at the moment. Williams' pass was beautifully cut off there by Smith. Smith gets it back from DeBoof. She goes back to her as well. Now Smith. DeBoof. Underground to Miller, who could maybe have the shot at goal. Decides against it, Smith. So they reload the Tigers, and that pass way too much on it, and it'll come back.
Good work.
Short one. Bell to Miles. Searches around. Goes back to Bell. Miles again. Looks further at court and being really locked in at the moment are Gembrook Cockatoo. But now they found an opening. The two Williams sisters working in tandem. O'Neill searches around. Goes back to Avi Williams. And knocked away by Caneva. Through the hands of O'Neill, tracks it back and does well enough. So it comes back to Lady Williams. She can centre the pass to Abby Williams. It'll come back again to Laney. Now Abby Williams, Mariah Bell. This is an important one, and she puts it through. Once again, the margin back to 7 goals. And Smith has the centre pass. Corliss. Miller. Looks around, goes all the way back to Clark. Oh, DeBoof just spilled it, but reclaims it once again. Smith, Miller. Can line them up here, this to get the margin back to 8 goals. It'll fade away sort of style and puts it through. The margin's back to 8 goals. So Laney Williams once again can get the moving out of the centre. Does that pretty well. That was to Abby Williams. Now it's Mariah Bell. Bell to O'Neill. We can line them up. And puts it through. Back to 7 goals the margin. So once again, Smith in the centre. Goes out wide to Corliss. Corliss. Miles. Oh, no, just couldn't quite finish the job, Mary Miles. It was nearly brilliantly done, but now it's back with Miller. Miller to Corliss. And through for another goal. Back to 8 goals the margin. 20-12 the score. Williams, Clark, fantastically done. Got it to DeBoof. DeBoof goes back to Smith. Smith has an option wide in Evans, decides against it for the time being. DeBoof, Miller, all the way across to DeBoof. DeBoof fires it into Smith. Smith thought about Corliss, went back to DeBoof. Corliss, Smith. Corliss got to track it back, and she does. DeBoof and now Miller. So Miller, where can she go? Oh, nearly cut off by Alexis Bell, but couldn't finish off the job. And now Danica Corliss can't put through the first attempt. She'll have another go at it. And on this occasion, puts it through. And it's out to a 9-goal margin now for Woori Yallock, who've really started to get away in this game. So now, centres the pass. That's a pretty good one. Smith, DeBoof, Miller. Just assesses the options, and Miles will cut that one off, and probably been Gembrook Cockatoo's best player so far today. Williams to Williams. Abby Williams with it once again. Volta back to Abby Williams to Laney Williams. Laney Williams with it once again to O'Neill. Can she get it back to her? No, Clark. Intercepting for Woori Yallock. Gets it to Smith. Smith to DeBoof. DeBoof Short pass to Corliss. Corliss once again got it from Smith. Knocked away. Anyone's ball now, and it'll come back to Clark. And now Corliss with an opportunity. This to make it 10 goals the difference for Woori Yallock, and can't put through that one, but makes the second opportunity work. It's a 10-goal margin now for the Tigers, 22-12, and opportunity for the Brookers. And Dobson's going to come back onto the court for Deboof, who's going to have a break. Long pass to Mariah Bell's a good one, who was one out against Caneva, and Bell doesn't quite put through the first opportunity, but she lines him up again, doesn't get this one to Caneva this time. Wins it back for the Tigers. Long pass from Smith to Corliss. Corliss laterally. Good one to Evans. Evans to Miller. Smith. Corliss. Fumble but recovered, and she'll go again now, Corliss. This to make it 11 goals, and she puts that one through. 23-12 is the score. So it comes back. Good one. Dobson pops it over the top to Corliss. Corliss, Miller's on her own, and is this one going to count? Miller. Maybe not quite, and it'll come back the other way. Miles. Short pass to Volta. Lainey Williams wants to go back to Volta, but she's got to retreat, and took a step, said the umpire. So now Miller, Dobson. Miller gets into a better spot, and she lines it up, puts it through. It's 12 goals the difference, 24-12 the score. So Williams once again in the centre. Shorts it to Abby Williams. Long pass to Mariah Bell. We'll go back to Williams. Will she know even further? Back to Volta. O'Neill. Unsure where to go. So she 1-2s with Volta. Lainey Williams gets in there. So there's an explanation there from the umpire to Williams. So play restarts. O'Neill with an opportunity. And just falling short, but she'll get another opportunity. Briley O'Neill needs to put this one through, and she does. 24-13, and they're all pretty important at the moment for Gembrook Cockatoo. 11 goals the difference it is at the moment. Dobson. Back to Smith. Smith. Dobson again. Shorts it to Miller, who can probably line them up, and eventually decides to do just that. Doesn't quite put it through, and doing a good job there was Volta. So now comes back to Alexis Bell, who could have gone to Miles, decided to go to Volta. Miles with it now, goes to Volta. Abby Williams, really unsure where to go. Eventually goes to O'Neill. O'Neill, oh. Smith going short. Smith. So, umpire not happy with something there, and Mariah Bell being gifted a shot at goal, but doesn't make it work, and Caneva got it off the post to Clark. And now Smith. So, warning there against Woori Yallock. I'm not 100% sure what that was all about, but anyway, that's back down the end of the Tigers. Miller. Out wide to Dobson. Dobson. All the way back to Evans. Smith. Could have gone to Miller. Eventually does decide to go to Miller. Smith, Dobson, couple of 1-2 passes, and now Corliss to get it back to 12 goals. Puts it through, 25-13. So now back with Lainey Williams. Williams. O'Neill got it from Volta, goes back to her as well. Laterally to Miles, who's got to get up and does just that. Cut off by Smith, was it? Not legally though, so it'll come back. Williams puts it up for Bell and gets it to her. So this one needs to go through, and she puts it through. Mariah Bell gets it back to 11 goals. 25-14, so Smith. Dobson. Back to Smith. Just got a bit of contact there from Miles, and now Corliss with an opportunity to stretch it back out to 12 goals. Corliss puts it through. 26-14 the score. Williams. O'Neill spilled it. Not what the Brookers needed. So it'll come back to Clark. Clark pops it over the top to Dobson. Dobson does nicely to Smith. Underground pass, anyone's ball, and eventually Corliss ends up with it, and pretty close to goal it might be said as well. And she puts that one through and makes it a 13-goal difference. So now it's back to Smith. Smith, Corliss. Does that pretty well to Smith. Miller won't have the shot at goal, but gets the pass to Corliss. Corliss now can line them up, and Corliss can put it through and make it a 14-goal difference. 28-14 the score. So it's Williams once again to the centre, to Abby Williams. Recovered it nicely, goes back to Laney. Laney laterally and inboard to O'Neill. And that'll do us for the first half here in Match of the Round between Gembrook Cockatoo. It is Woori Yallock by 14 goals. And we're underway. So Smith out to DeBoof. DeBoof goes back to Smith, who finds Caneva, who's moved into goal attack after starting his goalkeeper. And they've turned it over, so it will come back for Gembrook Cockatoo. So Alexis Bell to Williams. Goes laterally to Miles. Miles to Burton. Burton goes out wide to Mariah Bell. Miles to Laney Williams. Back to Miles. And nearly cut off by DeBoof. No, Miles won it back and gets it back to Laney Williams once again. Much longer pass this time. Finds Burton. Burton, good one. To Christie, who puts it through.
Great, Hales, good work.
So it'll come back to Burton. So good start for the Brookers. Williams, Christie, back to Burton, sorry. Burton nearly stolen by Dobson, who's moved into goalkeeper. And now Mariah Bell. Christie kept it in and eventually gets it to Williams. So now Mariah Bell can line them up. This for back-to-back goals in Gembrook Cockatoo, and she puts it through. 28-16 the score. So Smith to Caneva. Caneva to Clark. Clark to Evans. Smith searches around Caneva through the hands. So it'll come back to Alexis Bell. Long pass is a good one to Burton. Burton goes back to Bell. Bell to Miles. Miles comes back to Bell. Good pass to, that was Mariah Bell. Williams, this is Abby. Christie. Williams again to Mariah Bell. Burton. Williams. Waits and waits, and it eventually gets it to Christie, and Christie doesn't put it through, and Dobson gets it first off the post. Found Evans. Evans pops it over the top to Smith. Smith to DeBoof. Laterally to Clark. Right at a measure. Clark goes back to DeBoof. Fires it into Caneva. Back to DeBoof. DeBoof goes out wide to Smith. Smith. And doing really well here at the moment, the Gembrook Cockatoo defence. So Burton, Miles dangerously, but in the end she won it for Gembrook Cockatoo. Williams spilled it, and it's going to come back. So Dobson on the last line of defence to Clark, goes back to Dobson. Once again with Clark, pops it over the top nice, so that'll work for Evans. Evans to Smith, to Caneva. Does well, goes back to Clark. Clark to DeBoof. DeBoof. And nicely done by Miles, wins it back. They can go back the other way here now. Can Gembrook Cockatoo. Williams, Miles, had Burton but decided to go back to Williams. Laney to Abby. Now Mariah Bell, Abby Williams, Burton. Lets it bounce in front of her, then collects it. Christie gets to a spot she likes. So this for, no, goes to Mariah Bell. Mariah Bell puts it through. That's 3 goals in a row for Gembrook Cockatoo, and all the scoring so far for the Brookers. So just the start they would have wanted. And now once again Burton in the centre. To Bell, back to Burton, knocked away to Booth. Did well enough. So Clark, who's had a pretty good game, goes out wide. Short one to Booth from Smith. Caneva to Booth. Smith. Knocked away, very nicely done there by Bell, it was in fact. Burton to Miles. Laney Williams to Burton. So Williams with it once again. Long pass to Bell, back to Williams. Williams, Laney to Abby. Bell. He'll get it back as well, Mariah Bell. Burton. Got it to Christie. Clark, fantastically no. Contact was given away, so it'll come back to Beck Christie. So this for 4 in a row, and Christie Doesn't put it through, but Mariah Bell now with an opportunity, and she does put it through, and that's 4 goals in a row for the Brookers, who are suddenly making a couple of inroads in this game. Just need a steady here to the Tigers. So Caneva nearly spilled, and it's going to come back again for the Brookers. Can you believe this? So Miles, suddenly the game just doesn't feel like it's over after Gembrook looked dead in the water at half time, but they need to communicate here because Williams had no idea that was coming for her. Christie's got to win it back, and now Dobson gets it back for Woori Yallock, and they're on the counter-attack here, the Tigers. So Clark does nicely to DeBoof. DeBoof goes to Smith. Smith to Caneva, who's got it, and she can line up for her first shot at goal. Olivia Caneva, and doesn't put it through, but Miller recovers. Miller does put it through, and important response there for Woori Yallock just to right the ship a little bit. So Burton back in the centre. Unsure where to go laterally, and Bell did well. Kept it from going out. Goes back to Burton. Anyone's ball, but Williams eventually wins it. She goes short to Abby, does Laney. Laney's got it back. Burton searches around. Has to go underground. Does that pretty well in the end. And, oh dear. That one goes out of play, and it will come back for Woori Yallock. So Dobson to Clark. Clark back to Dobson. Evans, Corliss, who's come back onto the court. Smith. And now Miller lines them up and puts it through, and 2 goals in a row there for Woori Yallock. So 30-18 the score, and just reasserting some of the dominance in this game. DeBoof to Corliss. Centres it to DeBoof, who just got it under her control. Miller out wide to Smith. Smith does well to Corliss. And Corliss puts it through. 31-18 the score. So now Burton back in the centre. Burton goes back and eventually does make it work to Williams, and Smith winning it back for Woori. Can go short to Miller, does just that. And Miller puts it through, and back to 14 goals in the blink of an eye. So all the hard work for Gembrook suddenly being undone. So now Smith back in the centre, back to a 14-goal margin. DeBoof laterally to Barber. To DeBoof. DeBoof searches around, goes back to Barber. Now Smith into the corner for Miller. Corliss is there, and double. Eventually Corliss somehow wins it, and Miller can line them up, and that's the biggest lead of the game. 15 goals, 33-18. So Burton through the hands of Williams, and Barber did well. Won it back, could have gone to Dobson, but decided to go to Clark. She's got it back again, Barber. So does Clark. Clark short to DeBoof. DeBoof back to Clark. Clark short one is a good one as well. To Smith, and just put too much on the pass. And a quick little change here for Gembrook Cockatoo. So Volta comes back on, and Miles, who's pulled up sore. So Volta to Burton. Burton to Bell. Goes back to Volta. Williams. Bell. Burton. Did nicely and shorts it to Mariah Bell, who puts it through. So Smith to Corliss. Pops it over the top to Booth, and Smith's just lost her footing. She gets back up though, Corliss, and now she's got the ball back as well to Smith. To Booth. Eventually decides to go back to Smith. Underground pass, finds Miller, who can line them up, and she's been very good today. Has Kylie Miller, and she puts that one through for another goal and sends it back out to a 15-goal margin. So Burton went to Bell and then to Volta. Now Abby Williams. Christie goes back to Burton. Burton with a couple of 1-2 passes, and now Mariah Bell can line them up, and do they keep it in play? Didn't matter because Clark got it back, so now Dobson with ball in hand. Short one to Clark. Clark. Dobson can run onto it. She goes short to Smith. Smith pops it over the top for Barber. Barber to DeBoof. Laterally to Smith. Miller. Oh, fantastically done there by Volta. Wins it back for Gembrook Cockatoo. Williams can go short, and Volta's got it back once again. So here is Lainey Williams to Abby Williams to Christie. Back to Williams. Can she get it to Bell? Bell says no, and now Smith can win it back. She goes short to Dobson. Dobson to Barber. Barber longer pass to Corliss. They're inside the attacking third. Back to Clark. Clark to Booth. Back to Barber. DeBoof once again. Laterally all the way across to Miller. Miller to DeBoof. And Miller again can line them up. No, decides to go back to Smith. Smith, Corliss in prime position. Puts that one through. And it's a 16-goal margin. 35-19 the score. So now Smith back in the centre. Corliss. DeBoof. Oh. Bravely inserted herself in and now finds Miller, who can line it up and put it through for another goal. That's a 17-goal margin for Woori Yallock. 36-19 the score. Now Burton with the centre pass. Laterally knocked away by Barber. Corliss. Short to DeBoof. Laterally to Barber. Back to DeBoof. Pops it over the top nicely to Smith. Smith does well, and here is Corliss, who can line them up. And Danica Corliss, maybe not quite, no. Couldn't be knocked away by Bell. And Miller finishes off the job, so 37-19 the score. 18 goals the difference. So DeBoof got it from Smith, back to Barber, back to DeBoof. Pops it over the top nicely to Smith. Corliss got it. And Danica Corliss, this to make it 19 goals a margin. She puts it through. And they continue pressing to Woori Yallock. So Burton out of the centre did well to Bell. Short to Williams, back to Burton. Christie, Burton and a couple of 1-2s, and now Christie can line them up. Needs to put this through, and she does. So now Smith again in the centre. Laterally, nearly cut off by Laney Williams. It couldn't quite complete the job. Underground pass finds Miller, who can line them up from here. And puts it through. 39-20. Another quick one there for the Tigers. So Burton again with the centre pass. Short to Williams, who held strong. Long pass to Christie is a good one. Slipping over, though, was Bell. And she taking time to get up is Mariah Bell, but she reckons she's okay. And we are going to have a stop in play here. So Mariah Bell, I think, has done the knee here, so getting back up, it's kind of hard to get a gauge on the severity of the injury because a few people having a laugh, but that was a shoulder, is it? Oh. So it is a shoulder, in fact, for Mariah Bell, and that's not good for Gembrook Cockatoo. So play will start. And O'Neill comes back on and puts it through for a goal. It's 18 goals the difference, so not good there for Mariah Bell. We hope she's okay. As Barber gets it back to DeBoof. So a couple of casualties today. Mary Miles, who had to go off just earlier, and now Corliss, who can line up the goals and puts it through to a 20-goal margin now, 40-20. I don't know if Mariah Bell will take much further part in the game, so Barber wins it back, gets it to Corliss. Corliss goes short with the pass. It's a good one to Smith. DeBoof to Smith. Miller with a bit of room. Couldn't line them up. Alexis Bell keeps it in through the legs of Burton, desperately fighting to get that ball back for her side, and eventually she does win it for them. So Burton, short pass to Volta, back to Bell. Burton taken out. Oh no, I've lost my book. No. Oh. Notes are gone flying, that's okay. Even commentators get involved in the action sometimes here in the netball, so Burton wins it back. Gets it to Christie, who can line them up, who's been pretty good in this third quarter, and she puts that one through and gets it back to a 19-goal margin. 41-22 the score. So out of the centre, Corliss to DeBoof. DeBoof back to Barber. DeBoof again to Smith. Held strong in the position, and Corliss to the front. Can get it back to a 20-goal margin, not with that attempt. She'll go again and puts that one through. It's back to 20 goals. 42-22 the score. So Burton once again out wide. Good one. O'Neill puts it up, and Williams just A little look away take. Does get it under her control. Here is Burton. Short pass to Christie. Burton goes again. And it comes back for Christie. So to get it back to 19 goals back, Christie can't quite do so, but O'Neill read it nice, and she does put it through Broly O'Neill. So back to 19 goals the margin. Corliss. Oh, Barber's lost it and couldn't keep it in play. So it'll come back for Williams. Williams. Bell it was in fact now Volta. Short pass to Williams. Williams. That was Laney to Abby Williams. Christie decides to go back to Burton, who couldn't collect it because it went out of her zone, and now it comes back to Elise Dobson on the last line for Woori Yallock. Short pass to Clark, back to Dobson. Dobson further a court to Corliss. It's a good pass as well. Centres it to Clark. Clark searches around, goes back to Smith. Smith to Miller, just sort of collected it in the one hand. Comes back to Smith, and now Corliss puts it through, and there's another one. 43-23 the score. 20 goals the difference for Woori Yallock, as once again Burton's back in the centre. Long pass, and O'Neill gets up for it. Goes back to Burton. Burton to Abby Williams, and that had too much on it, and that'll do us for three-quarter time here in Match of the Round, and final quarter action about to get underway. It's DeBoof back in the centre. It's Woori by 20 goals, and Demi Barber comes back to DeBoof. Caneva back on the court. Now's goal defence. Miller, who's been good all day, has not missed a beat, so DeBoof back to Miller. DeBoof again. Can go short to Miller, who can line up the goals, and oh gee, just doesn't quite get that one through, but very close. So Miles, who's moved into goalkeeper, and a little niggle with the knee or something like that, but she's back on the court now. So Burton back on as wing defence to O'Neill. Volta pops it over the top to Abby Williams, who's moved into the centre. Christie. So Burton wing attack, in fact. Christie with the second attempt, and puts it through. There we go. So first goal of the last goes the way of Gembrook Cockatoo, 43-24. Comes out wide, good one. Williams to O'Neill to Burton. To Christie. Williams. Christie, good one to O'Neill, who can line them up and puts it through. So 18 goals the margin, 42-25. In fact, the scoreboard reads. So Dobson back on the court as well. Corliss. Anyone's ball here. It will be tracked back by O'Neill, who can go short to Burton. Burton back to Williams. Burton with it again. Just got a bit of contact as well from Barber. So Barber receiving a warning from the umpire by saying she's deliberately coming in to create the contact, apparently. Don't quite know what's going on there, but anyway, we're back in the centre now. So they've started this quarter well too of Gembrook Cockatoo. First 3 goals so far. O'Neill looking for Christie, and Clark's given away contact. So I bet Christie can line them up, and looking pretty good, but Caneva does well. Got it first off the post, goes short to DeBoof. DeBoof to Barber. Barber back to Clark. Clark again. Barber pops it over the top nicely to Dobson. Dobson to Corliss. Corliss to DeBoof. DeBoof back to Corliss. Good one. Fair Miller. She puts it through and gets the margin back to 17 goals. So DeBoof in the centre for the Tigers. And nicely done by Volta. Cut it off, got it away to Burton. Burton long pass to O'Neill. O'Neill, can she get it to Christie? No, goes back to Williams, and they've lost it, Woori. So DeBoof to Clark, looking for Barber, who wins it for him as well. Miller, ooh, just lost control of it at the last moment. And so Mary Miles with it now for Gembrook Cockatoo. Can centre it to Abby Williams, who looks further a court, goes back to Miles. Miles, Williams again, short to Volta. Laney Williams back to Volta again. Good long pass to O'Neill. O'Neill to Burton, who's going to come back. Dobson got the hand in and stepped offside, so it'll come back to Volta. Williams, this is Laney, can go to Abby Williams, does just that. Looking for and finding Christie, who doesn't want to take the shot at goal from this spot, and now it's turned over. Clark wins it back for Woori Yallock. DeBoof to Caneva to Barber. Barber down the line to Corliss to DeBoof to Miller. Goes back to DeBoof. Miller, oh, nicely done, collect it in the one hand, and Miller can line them up and put it through. And she doesn't miss too many, does Kylie Miller. Been very accurate today in front of the goal, so it comes back to Williams in the centre, and now it's been turned over. So Barber, short pass to DeBoof. DeBoof centres it to Dobson. Dobson to Corliss. Corliss underground. DeBoof, Corliss. Oh, the look away from Miller nearly worked, and having a bit of a laugh about it. It would have been very clever if it had come off anyway. So Burton, Volta, long pass. Christie gets on the end of it, looking for and finding O'Neill. O'Neill, who doesn't have the shot. She goes back to Burton now in a spot she much prefers, and she puts it through. Margin back to 17 goals. 44-27 is the score. Dobson got it from DeBoof, and they're broken too early. Volta wastes no time. Abby Williams to O'Neill. Comes back to Williams. Christie. Oh. Moving it very quickly and maybe just a little bit too quick for O'Neill. So Barber gets it from Clark, and now DeBoof. Waits and then eventually goes back to Barber. Dobson's got it now. Finds Corliss with plenty of room. DeBoof spills it. Comes back to DeBoof to Miller, who can line them up now, Kylie Miller. And she doesn't put it through, but now Corliss with the opportunity can put it through. And it's an 18-goal margin at 45-27 is the score. As it comes back in the centre for Abby Williams, who goes backwards, and it's turned over, is it? And then momentarily it trickles out of play. So Laney Williams puts it up, gets it to Abby Williams. Laney calls for it back. O'Neill's got to try and keep it in play and can't do so. So Clark, unsure where to go, puts it up for Barber. Anyone's ball through the legs of Williams, and it's anyone's ball in the centre. And it will stay the way with Woori Yallock. DeBoof got it from Smith, who's moved into wing attack, and Miller has the shot at goal and puts it through. 19 goals the margin. And now DeBoof once again with an opportunity in the centre. Goes out wide, good one to Smith. Oh, nearly a collision. Comes back to Caneva laterally to Barber. DeBoof, Miller picks it up in the one hand, and that's a really nice one to Corliss, who can line them up and put it through and make it a 20-goal margin. 47-27 the score. So it's Clark once again in the centre. Try to go short to Burton, but it was knocked away by DeBoof. Comes back to Laney Williams. Here is Abby Williams, short to O'Neill. Now to Burton, who puts it up, and O'Neill's got it. And she can line them up, and she puts it through and gets one back for the Brookers. 47-28 the score. Smith, long pass to Corliss, comes back to Smith. And now Corliss. And really giving it everything there was Volta. Plenty of effort required. DeBoof. And now Corliss, who can put it through for another one. 20 goals. 48-28. O'Neill. Back to Williams. Williams to Laney Williams. Burton. Lateral pass, and she gets it back off the hands. Now Christie. Back to Burton once again. Christie again. Won't have the shot at goal. O'Neill can, and O'Neill puts it through. 48-29 the score. DeBoof out wide. Good one. To Smith. Corliss. Searches around, eventually gets it back to Smith. Smith to Miller, knocked away by, and nicely done by Volta as well, who wins it. Now, Burton had it all to do in the centre, and she does win it eventually. Short pass is a good one. Another short pass, Williams, Burton, Christie, Volta, Burton, O'Neill. Can she score back-to-back goals for Gembrook Cockatoo? Yes, she can. 48-30 the score. So now, quick one there from Williams. A couple of 1-2s with O'Neill, and now Christie. Doesn't quite put it through, but O'Neill gets it back first, and Caneva eventually cuts it off and shorts it to Barber. Barber to DeBoof. On the counter here are Woori, Smith, Corliss. Short one again to Smith. And Miles nearly winning it back, but just couldn't quite complete the job. Smith to DeBoof. DeBoof back to Smith. Corliss. Smith. Couple of 1-2s, and now Corliss finds a spot that she likes, and she puts it through. 49-30 the score. So now it's back with DeBoof in the centre. Corliss. Barber. Short to Smith. Over the top to DeBoof. Miller. Can line them up from here and doesn't quite get it, and Miles gets it first off the post. And just dealt with illegally there. So we'll come back to Miles. Williams to Williams. Burton. Inside the attacking third now, the Brookers. Christie's got it. Searches around. Wants to go back to Burton. Does that as well. Burton back to Christie, and just got a bit of contact from Caneva, it seems. So Christie can line them up and puts it through. 49-31 the score. Another opportunity for Gembrook Cockatoo now. So Abby Williams in the centre. To O'Neill, back to Williams. Long passes, good one to Christie. Christie, back to Burton. Burton with a couple of 1-2s now with O'Neill, and O'Neill can line them up, and she puts that one through, and back to 17 goals the margin. 49-32 the score. So DeBoof to Smith. Corliss. DeBoof to Corliss again, and stolen nicely there by Volta. Quickly fires away to Burton, who's got to get it back, and eventually coming in was Williams. Volta again, Laney Williams. Short to Abby Williams. Caneva got the hand in, it did nicely, got it off the ground as well. Comes back to Dobson from DeBoof. DeBoof's got it once again. Laterally to Dobson. Further a court to Barber. Barber back to Caneva. Caneva goes back to Barber. Long pass, good one as well to Corliss. Corliss, Smith. So it'll come back for Woori. Corliss. Short one to DeBoof. Miller can line them up now, and Miller puts it through. And there's 50 goals for Woori Yallock. 50-32 the score. Williams to Burton. Goes back to Williams. Christie. Laney Williams. Burton again, who gets it back to now Williams. O'Neill does nicely. And she can line them up, and she puts it through. 50-33 the score. Goes out wide, good one. Pops it over the top nicely. Corliss goes all the way back to Barber. Barber to DeBoof. DeBoof fires it into Miller. Miller, Corliss can't keep it in. So it'll come back for Miles. Miles, long pass. Volta did nicely. Burton presented nicely as well, got to it. O'Neill. Waits, goes back to Laney Williams, short to Abby Williams. Looking for O'Neill, eventually gets it to her. Christie decides against the shot at goal and got it to O'Neill. And they get another one at Gembrook Cockatoo. Back to 16 goals the margin, 50-34 the score. Puts it up, keeping it in there. Was Burton to Christie, all the way back to Laney Williams, back to Burton. Burton fires it out wide to Christie. Christie to Williams, and O'Neill does really nicely, and she's had a pretty good last quarter. There's Briley O'Neill, and she puts through another goal. 50-35 the score. Just chipping away at the margin a bit now are the Brookers. Smith does well. Smith again, got it from Miller. Corliss, and they win it back again to Gembrook Cockatoo on the counter, so Burton's got it once more. Long pass is a good one to Christie. Christie Comes back. Laney Williams putting in the effort was DeBoof, but just couldn't quite finish off the job. Christie just got some contact on the way through. So Beck Christie can line them up. This to bring it back to 14 goals the margin. And can't quite finish off the job, so it'll come back to Dobson. For Woori Yallock, just go short to Caneva. Caneva back to Dobson. Dobson up the court, and it's a good one as well. To DeBoof, Barber, Smith, Miller. DeBoof again, Corliss. And comes back to Miller. Miller back to Corliss, and Corliss can line them up. And Corliss, not with the first attempt, but yes with the second attempt. So back to 16 goals the margin, 51-35 the score. And Abby Williams has the centre pass for Gembrook Cockatoo. Quickly finds Burton. Burton back to Williams. Short one. Volta. Williams. O'Neill eventually decides to have the shot at goal, and she doesn't quite finish off the job. So Dobson. Barber. Dobson again. Found Caneva. Caneva unsure where to go. Just go short to Barber. Barber up the court to Smith. Smith will go back to Barber. Barber onto Corliss. DeBoof. Miller, Corliss, is it? No, it goes back all the way to Smith. So it'll stay with Woori Yallock for the time being. This is Smith. Can go short to Miller, but just goes a little bit further to Corliss, who likes the chances from here. And Corliss knocked away by Miles, and they're on the counter-attack, Gembrook Cockatoo. So Burton got the long pass, goes short to Laney Williams. Williams laterally, passes affected by Smith. Getting in there was Barber. And that'll do us.